My distinguished colleagues, I rise today because I am concerned with where our nation is going in the form of our democracy and how it indirectly affects something that happened in my district. Something happened yesterday in my district, and the whip is not here, but the whip acknowledged it. Our law enforcement officer who failed, that was in my district. That was in less than 10 minutes from my house, where this officer, whose name has not been called, his name is Pradeep Temang. And I stand because of a twofold reason. He was a law enforcement officer who failed, and we got to recognize that. But I stand also because he was born in Nepal. And if you saw him outside of this uniform, he may be one of the persons who have come up to me and said that they were so concerned that they were carrying around copies of their passport. In my district, I have so many diverse people, and Pradeep Temang was born in Nepal, but he was serving the people of Georgia. And we have to give him respect not only when he's in a law enforcement uniform, and that's why I'm standing here, because I despise any death, let alone a death of a law enforcement officer. But I want to say that our political violence speech, our hate speech has gotten out of hand. It has created an atmosphere where people are not respected. The value of life itself is depreciated. And we must elevate our speech to statesmanship, nationally and statewide. And I believe Georgia can even lead the federal government in elevating our stance on how we speak to one another, how we respect one another. Why am I saying this? Because I noticed with great disappointment, in September we lowered the federal flags for a man that I don't want to die, but I despise what he stood for. He was a Christian right advocate for Christian nationalism. I am a real Christian, and I respect Christianity. But there was a person who the flag was lowered for a person that espoused hate speech, a person who criticized the Civil Rights Act of 1964, without which I could not stand right here where I'm standing right now. But he was lifted up, and the flags were lowered for him. When he criticized Dr. Martin Luther King, we lowered our flags for that same gentleman, as well as promotion of false allegations of electoral fraud in 2020 and white genocide conspiracy theory. We lowered our flag for that gentleman. And why is that important? That is important because very few of you, I dare say very few of you, can remember in June of the last year when a person who was the minority leader in Minnesota, the person's name was Melissa Hortman, and her husband, who died because she was the Speaker of the House in Minnesota. She was the minority in 2017 to 2019. But in 2019, she became the Speaker of the House. That said that the politics changed. Just because one party is in power, we should not shift our allegiances. But we don't know the name of Melissa Hortman. We don't know that name. We don't know the name of Pradeep Temang, but we should respect everyone. And I say that we have to respect, because I don't want us to stop respecting police officers and being afraid to open our door for a police officer. Because you know what happened in Minnesota? A police officer, that's who the killer posed himself as when he shot and killed Melissa Hortman. He posed as a policeman. And that was the only thing that we respected, is that badge. And we got to elevate that badge and elevate all human respect for human life. I yield the well, as I call the name of Pradeep Tamang, as well as Melissa Hortman, because all life is valuable, as well as our law enforcement officers. Thank you, and I yield the well.